So here I am out with my two girls, two Morris Minors, Olive the 49 Tourer and Elsie the 57 four-door. My cars are named after World War I nurses, which I think is quite apt. So we're going to have a bit of a look at Elsie, who got her registration on Thursday. So as you can see here, the last time Elsie was registered was in August 1979. So it's been quite a long process to get her back on the road. My father bought it off a lady in Grimmer Point in 1979, just after it ran out of rego, and then took her home and discovered she was full of rust, which wasn't a complete surprise, but the extent of the rust was far worse than anticipated. And so she sat in the bottom of the driveway for quite a number of years. So in 1984, with all my mates running around in minis, I decided to have a bit of a go at doing some work on the old girl and started pulling her apart. Did that through 85, last year at high school, then got an apprenticeship and had some money to spend, so it's continued on into the early 90s, doing a bit of work here and there. Unfortunately, I decided to buy a house when I was 21, and so all my money for the next 20 years pretty much went into that. And so Elsie sat in a garage, actually several garages, my grandmother's and my sister's and my father's, until 3 years ago I decided to make one last push and try and get her back on the road. So this is the original motor from that original car. The actual chassis, the body, came from a donor car that we bought in 85. It was in pretty good condition, a lot less rust than the car we got from Grimmer Point, and we ended up buying a third car for some running gear parts. So the bonnet, the doors are from that original car, most of the running gear, diff, motor, all the interior seats are from that car. The guards were new pressings, bought in the late 80s. The guys that did the work on it did a pretty good job of getting it all to fit. The two rear guards I think were off a donor car, and the boot was one that came from, I think that came from a bit of a market or something. Someone picked it up out west. Didn't have any rust in it, which was great. So the interior had that reupholstered in the late 80s. There's a gentleman out at Kalala on the south coast, was renowned for his high quality work. I think he had the seats for about 3 or 4 years. He's an older gentleman, sort of semi-retired, and he did a pretty fantastic job, I think. The velour trim, maybe not so much the fashion now, but it was back then. Still looks good. Basically all the seats and the cards were wrapped up and put in storage for 20 odd years. And thankfully no rats or anything managed to get into them. So she's all looking pretty good. So all the interior paintwork, the engine bay, the boot, under the car I did myself with acrylic, and then all the external paintwork and panel work was done by a local company, Narrow Smash Repairs. It was done in 2-pack, and the colour is Merlon Grey. There's the hood lining, which was a nightmare to get in, and mainly because the one we had from the 80s was actually made too short, so when we tried to fit it, it wouldn't stretch into place. This is a replacement I got from the UK. So there's still a few little things to do. Fit some seat belts, hopefully in the next few weeks, and just go around and touch up some nuts and bolts, stop them from rusting over time, which is pretty much there. So that's pretty much the tour of Elsie. You see the tyre in the boot there. That's 155 tyres on the car. Unfortunately, when you put a 155 tyre on the rim, it doesn't fit in to the space under the boot the spare tyre is supposed to go. So what I'm going to do there is get a 145 and 3 more 155s replace the tyres that are on the Tourer because they're 10 years old and going quite hard, and then I'll be able to get that spare with the 145 back in its proper space. But here we have her. 34 years of blood, sweat and tears. I didn't add up all the money, but I would suspect it's over $20,000 worth of work. Probably closer to 25 if I'm really honest about it all. And probably about 2,000 hours of work from myself, and my father and my brother, and a few hundred hours from my mother cooking us food while we're doing the work, and then the rest of the family that pitched in over various times, helping us lift the car around, helping us do a bit of mechanical work. So it's a family car. Anyone in the family is welcome to come and borrow it. There you have Elsie, about to go for a run. It's a beautiful day.